Good afternoon, Vietnam. I didn't even look at the time. It's almost 3. Ham said he would be willing to join at some point, so we'll check on that. Maybe just let's use up 9 minutes to see who comes on, because I know people want to hear the hamster. Railtown AI Technologies, Inc., RLAIF, remains 33.3 cents a share, 33 cents a share, pretty low volume. But it also is if I had to pick one of all these different companies, and I'm not saying I'm right, this is the one I would pick, both for a valid business plan, which we've gone over from their presentations and website, and from a sort of intermediate term to longer term view of where the company's value could be. That's the critical thing with any investment. You have to make an assessment of what you think the value is and maybe what it could be. And if you feel uncomfortable with that, there's two alternatives. One is you need to do more due diligence, more research. And the other is you have to listen to somebody, I guess. Some gal or guy that pontificates, I guess, or gives advice. I can't give advice because I don't know your individual situation. But anyway, I think Railtown offers the best mix of longer-term valid value creation and short-term potential for a nice run as that value is recognized. What you're not used to, because the markets are completely corrupted, is that the stock market becomes a discounting system. So that if enough eyeballs are on Railtown, smart eyeballs, people that understand AI and closed systems and self-educating systems. I don't even have the vocabulary, I don't know if it's a software or a technology or what, but this HAL-like item that's called AI, artificial intelligence, I guess is what you have to call it. Everybody understands it. Investment banks, the big funds, family offices, large investors, venture capitalists. So I think the value creation story is there, but the value will be brought forward. It will be discounted by these kind of investors and advisors. Anyway, that's Rail. Finger is doing very nicely. Finger's at $1.30, and it's $1.30 bid, $1.31. Likewise, I think Finger looks actually pretty strong in the short run. I think this news, sometimes good news takes a while to filter through, but I also think it implies that Roth Capital is likely to put out a research report. And further, it seems to me that Roth Capital is, and remember that was the question. How does the light get better if I move my hands? I don't know. That was the question that I had, is Roth Capital going to behave as a bona fide investment bank? And so far, I think it is. It's at $1.30. To me, for me to be fully behind the qualities of Roth Capital as a investment bank who supports its offerings, I'd like to see Finger go to $1.50, $1.55, $1.60, and it looks like that could happen. And it largely because of this good news and maybe a research report. I don't know a lot about GBUX, but it's up. It's at $1.45, and because of Ham's enthusiasm, I'm keeping an eye on it. NIXX has collapsed again. It's back down to $3. So I feel like that cautionary sense I gave that the stock had run. So I of course I did it in December, and now we're almost through January. So it feels like everything I've said has been delayed. I kind of feel like everybody's gone on vacation. Everybody has been away from their desk, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, Snowmageddon here, and Jimmy Carter, Martin Luther King, and the inauguration. Finally, people are back at their desk, but they're not all back yet. So maybe we'll hit the ground running Monday. And I think some of these stocks, like a NIXX, if it intends to run, it's back in a gambling zone, a place that it can be a punt can be initiated. MLSS, Ham sold it, but that's up 5 cents. ZJYL and GDC, I would put in the category that, kind of who knows. Logic shows 2 cents. Let me just see. Yeah, it's not really. The ask is 0.0199 and the last trade is 0.0176. Low volume. I've gone on and on about how I feel that Aubrey Advisors and Chadron Financial should be avoided at all costs. So I won't go through that again. But I anticipate there will be something coming soon on Logic. Let's say by the end of January. And we'll see. I don't know what it is. We'll read the news together. Collective audience, I was talking to somebody close to that situation, not an insider. And the real observation there is that Peter Boards did put out a pretty thorough discussion as a news release as to why the company, and I read it to you, as to why the company is on the OTC expert market. Again, I think this was intentionally done by Aubrey Advisors and Chadron Financial on behalf of their investors, Polar and one other hedge fund. But that happened. We are where we are, as they say in the United States. So Peter Boards, I think, even though I don't think he'd go as far as I do in what I say, I think he does recognize the peril that some players in the financial markets represent to shareholders. And I think what's going to happen with collective audience is as soon as that they get this Bebop Delula deal done and the filings done, this goes off of the OTC expert market and back on trading. And the guy I was talking to said, it was trading around 40 cents. I think it was a little below, a little higher, but let's just use his number. And that stock could snap back to that level fairly quickly. So anyway, there's that. And what else is on my little list? Your kiss is on my lips. Nothing else. Nothing else. The Dow is sort of flat today, but the markets around the world are showing exuberance to the upside. Donald Trump flew to North Carolina, going to California. I love that he says, look, if they want help in California, I got two things. Fill the reservoirs with water and voter ID. I think that's great. But the other thing he's talking about is all sorts of tariffs and bombastic, almost challenges to Putin and challenges to the Middle East. But what people aren't focusing on is how he seems to really be putting pressure on that lying criminal murderer in my judgment, Netanyahu. He's putting pressure on Netanyahu, and he's putting pressure on Zelensky. So maybe there'll be some forward movement. But the other thing Trump is talking about is lower interest rates. Now, our entire financial system, both commercial banks and now these banks, are based on confidence. And interest rates are based on confidence. And we have a whole generation that believes the Fed controls. I'm trying to see how I can get this computer to put more light on my face, but I guess it can't. I don't know. I have to get a lamp. So I think the risk that's going on right now that is massive is the bond markets can go their own way, and they're huge. And the bond markets can decide, I don't believe that Trump can control interest rates any more than Janet Yellen can. And we have, through the idiocy of Janet Yellen and the simpish Biden administration, we have something like a third to 40% of all our debt maturing this year. So let's put it in other terms. We have $12 trillion that we have to roll over in the bond market. Why? Why, oh, why? When interest rates were barely perceptible, didn't we go out long term? Is it because it's good for the banksters? Probably. But it puts us at peril. Anyway, there's real risk in the bond market. So we have to look out for that. I think the bond market will win at the end of the day, but until then, a little chi-chi. And then the other thing I noticed, and I'll try to call Ham, the other thing I noticed is one of those guys, Blankenfield or Fink or Sorenstein or somebody at one of the big funds. I can't remember his name. I can see his picture, but his name's not popping into my head. Yeah, I'll find it. We'll talk about it. Anyway, he's calling for the tokenization of all American assets, stocks, bonds, real estate, tokenize everything. And that, to you all, you're hearing, wow, blockchain, it's on blockchain, it's going to be traceable. What I'm hearing, everything's a trade. Everything is financial. These geniuses We need this Blankenfeld in there to tell us the value of our assets, tokenizing it? No, we don't. But they need it because they get a fee. They can get the government printing money. Let's go to war. Just pour the money out and fee. Where's the money going to go? It's going to go into a whole new asset class called tokenization. That's how I see it. I could be wrong, but and then I guess the only other topic that I'm going to be thinking about a bit this weekend is Russia. We want more sanctions, more crap, more. I really think Russia's going to have an American century. The country believes in God. They have a strong leader who looks out for Russia. They have energy. They have a highly educated population. They have a booming economy, and they have trust of more than half the world's population, who, by the way, are all going into the middle class, buying automobiles, buying other things via China, via Southeast Asia, maybe India, but they need energy. They all want to live like we've been blessed to live. So I don't think we're going to cripple Russia, but we'll see. I hope that Putin and Trump both can make a deal without the annoying Hillary Clinton lying by Steele and the rest that basically emasculated Trump. That's probably the wrong word. They took the ball out of his hands, the bat out of his hands when it came to negotiation last time. Oh, he's in bed with Putin. I can't wait till Hillary Clinton goes to the home and we don't have to listen to that crap anymore. Djokovic retired from his match, and he might be retiring. Very sad. He could have won the first set, but his heart was never in it. I think he knew that his injury was pretty severe. And I guess just to touch on it, if you make profits, if you have cash, please start buying physical silver. I know John wants you to look at platinum and palladium. I agree with John. And maybe gold. But right now, the thing you can buy that's not that expensive, doesn't have huge premiums, is physical silver. Start doing it. 10 ounces might change might make you independent if the financial world comes crashing around us in 3 years or 6 years. I don't know. But it'll start you on this path of learning what gold and silver mean. And you got to start somewhere. So anyway, with that, I'm going to try to call him.
Battery 80%. Connected to Bill's iPhone.
My eyesight's so bad I hit the wrong. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. I hit something else.
Hello.
Hey, you're live if you want to be. You are live right now, but if you want to be.
All right, so I heard a rumor. I went out to play pickleball, and I'm hearing the Roth Capital report could be out early next week. Where is the stock out? The stock,
the stock is making a dramatic push as you're
Okay, where is it?
goofing
128?
off.
Where
As
is
you're
it?
goofing
128?
off.
Where is it?
It's 419,000 shares, 131 to 132. Last trade 131.5.
Well, again, you know what I just heard. So, and the little birdie, I think, has, pretty close to the source. So let's see if it's true. We know it's coming. I don't know the dates, but that's what they just said early next week. Let's see if it happens. Like I said, I'm not even home. I was playing pickleball. I'm going back home now.
Playing hooky.
That's interesting. I was playing hooky. It's Friday. I got an opportunity to go play, and I ran out. So I'm not even watching it. And William, I posted before I left MLSS. I told everyone I sold it at 130. Of course, it continues, right? That's what happens to everybody.
136.
Yeah. So we all do the same thing. Don't think that we're, if anyone tells you that it doesn't happen to them, they're full of shit. It happens to all of us. We make a sale and the stock continues up. I'm just telling you as a joke. I'm used to it. That doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, and you build it in your trading. You know, you're not your goal. I say it all the time. Trading is not about getting an A+ or getting 95% of the move. If you get 40% of the move, 50%, 60% of the
let
move,
someone else.
that's
it's like
awesome.
a relay race. Let someone else take it. It's a relay race. That is correct.
Yeah.
So that's what I did there. And, and again, I just want people to understand that, anyone tells you they trade perfect, they're full of shit. I just want you guys to understand that. I'm not standing here telling you I'm perfect. I believe I'm very good. I can tell you that. But I'm not perfect, and nobody's perfect. And these big hedge funds, they're all full of shit, that they're always up 20%, 80%. Every trade they do is a winner. They're full of shit. So don't believe that either. All these guys that these are guys that give in positions and take huge positions off of people's backs. That's all they're doing. Someone's losing a lot of money when these guys are winning that big. And I wouldn't doubt it that they're all dabbling, when like the MULN, when it was trading 50 million shares a day or 100 million shares a day, think about someone selling 20 million a day at $5 and the thing goes to zero. These guys probably stole billions from that company on the short side. Billions. Not millions, billions. Just like that Anson fund in Canada. And they used Andrew Left, Hindenburg, Capybara, all these shitheads to put the stories out, and they run interference, and that's why they short, because they blame, if anything comes out, they blame the story. Oh, I did it because of the story. That's how these guys operate. So you know what I know about the finger motion? And the only other stock I own is the GBUX. Where is that, William? I don't even know.
Yeah, that was up too. Let me look. I got distracted. I was
No problem.
on another page. It's 145. The bid is 145. The ask is 150. And
I'm really starting to like the things I'm hearing there. Again, I don't know the timing on it. I'm hearing it sooner rather than later.
Really?
And I'm told it's going to be a big stock in 2025 or in 2025. Let's see what happens. That's all basically all I can really say. I don't really know much. And it's coming from real solid people.
GBUX.
Let's see what happens there.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
The name is GBUX Inc. GBUX.
Oh. All I know is GBUX. That's it.
Yeah.
And I really don't find things very appealing in the market. I think it's dangerous. These things are flying. Netflix, they take it up 125. And then all of a sudden, what do you do now? You're going to chase it up here? I don't know what to tell you. NVIDIA, there was 100 negative stories on it. And I told you when I heard all those negative stories, they got to be all wrong. and the stock went from 130 back up to 146. So my gut feeling on that was, correct. I mean, it's so dangerous. People are telling that, there's a negative story. Do you buy it? Do you short it? You don't know. And, I kind of stay away from things like that. I'm not looking to run into anybody else's fire drill here. That NIXX, I heard that, there was a big buyer the other day. It acted great, went to 5, and they pushed it down to 3. That's all within 2 days. It's so dangerous what's going on. It's ridiculous. Do you have any questions, anyone?
Let me look. My eyesight's not.
I played pickleball against a French-Canadian guy, and I hit him with the ball 3 times in the chest, and I apologized, and he says, no worries, he was a goaltender. I tried to tell him that in this game, you're not trying to get hit with the ball.
Mike M says MLSS is up. Somebody must have sold.
Thank you. Tell everybody the one idiot that sold. Think about it. If I bought it at that bottom number and I sold it up here, that's a big trade, right? 65 cents to $1.40. That's a big play. But I didn't buy it properly.
Matthew is pointing out that if Finger gets back to 150, there's really nothing in the way of it going back to $2. So if it gets to 150, he thinks it'll run to 2.
We say $1.50 because that's where the deal was done at. I believe all those people that bought it, the 3 million shares, I think they either sold it before and, or they dabbled out of it, or I have no idea. But I think the pressure that everyone thinks is going to be there is not going to be there. I think Roth Capital had told those people what's coming. And as soon as they got the money, did the company announce a contract? Yes. So obviously the money was used to get these contracts or to accelerate the contracts. Let's put it that way. So I'm sure Roth told them, and I believe the Roth Capital report will be pretty detailed, things that we don't know. For example, some gentleman posted that the Finger Motion got to deal with that automaker that they're partners with is a $27 billion company in China, market cap company.
That's pretty.
I don't know the name.
It's
That's
called
a big company. I don't know the name of the company, but he posted it up on Twitter. Some guy, Frank something, I don't know his name.
Yeah,
or who he is, but he said it was a $27 billion company.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you before, small companies do not get deals with massive companies because they're afraid if there's fraud, it hurts their company. So they're very, very careful not to give companies deals like that.
Right.
So, so for Finger Motion to get this type of deal is pretty strong. What else we got, William?
Bad eyesight.
Bad eyesight. In line.
I can't.
It's so funny. I went to a Mexican restaurant the other night, and they gave me the menu, and it's a menu with like 9,000 items on it.
And they told you what table you're bussing? No, just kidding.
I can't see the menu at all. And I bought 3 pairs of those reading glasses, and I've lost 2, and I have 1, and I can't find it in the house, so I can't really see. I wish I can afford to go to a steakhouse who really like to eat steak, because that's the only place you can go. There's like 4 items on a menu, and it's always gigantic, the writing.
Just go to an Italian joint. You know what to order.
When I go to an Italian place, it's easy. I know exactly what I want.
Spaghetti. When do you think DJT will start to run?
I can't believe, listen, people, I'm not here to insult Trump. I'm glad he's making the country more secure. We need it for our children. We need it for ourselves. I got it. I'm not trying to be nasty. But for Christ's sake, Trump, what are you doing? We're all here because of the stock market. The stock market is a total shit show. And I don't know how they address it to the rest of the world, where countries like, Korea, South Korea, China, India, all banning short selling in some shape or form or addressing it, and we do nothing, and he knows about it. It's just remarkable. That to me is disheartening. I'm surprised he hasn't done anything yet. Are they waiting for the SEC? Are they waiting for the SEC to make a statement? That's what a good friend of mine who's he used to work at the Morgan Lewis Bockius and Kadare Brothers, a very good lawyer. And he told me that he believes that the SEC is going to make the statements instead of Trump. Because Trump let it go on so long, if he does address it towards DJT, everyone will attack him. So he thinks that the SEC will make the statements on it, but they haven't approved that guy yet, Atkins.
Do you think the buying in finger today could be because somebody knows something about the dividend or the Roth report?
Well, none of us know what the date of the dividend is because the company's waiting for the accountants to give it the approval. So I think that's, even the CEO doesn't know when the accountants give the approval, right? So let's do it by knocking out the obvious. Well, we don't know it's dividend. The CEO didn't know. So I would have to, if I had to make a bet, Wall Street has got more leaks in it than the Titanic had holes in it. Trust me, I think it would be Roth Capital relaying it to some of their people that it's coming. That would be my guess. Because if I was at Roth Capital and I had a small company that they know they got a big short in it, I'm sure they do, and they knew they're going to put out a report that's positive, and showing upside potential. I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say they say, $10 to $15 their target. Their stock's going to $5 if they're saying that. So why would they start tipping off their clients and buying it? I don't know. That's my guess.
So Frankie, Frankie, posted on Twitter about the Chinese company. It's SAIC Motor Corporation. SAIC Motor Corporation.
Yeah, he's the one that put it up. That's correct.
And there's a consulting company out in McLean with a similar 4 letters. That's why.
Well, listen, he posted it. He did some due diligence, which I told the guy I wrote to him. I said, "Hey, thanks, great find. I had no idea." That's what I wrote to him. And people, I don't study every gory detail of what they do. I forgot half the shit that they do. Because the stuff they're getting now is even bigger and larger than they first started. So, these things just, have a way of, taking hold and eventually start turning, into monster revenue plans. So, let's let it play out.
I don't know if you would know this. I don't know. I would assume they're not. But do you think Chinese EV companies are nosediving? I assume not, because China.
Listen, William, I'll set you straight on that. I've been to China a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Every time I went there, I heard all the negative bullshit, all this stuff. And every time I've gone, people are working, cleaning the streets. The malls are beautiful. People are shopping. People are going out. It reminded me of New York in the 80s and the 90s. People were going out to dinner. They were all dressed well. I was in different cities. I wasn't just in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Shanghai was out of control. Macau. I mean, these are, not everybody can go gambling every day. We have downturns in Las Vegas, just like they have downturns in Macau. I mean, but they are just like us. And every time I hear things negative about China, listen, I'm not, here to see people getting beat up or whatever they did in China. I never seen it. And I've been around in the cities, walking around. I watch people do your animation. I watched 100 people in a room doing animation on games for the games that we see on the kids play. You know, I mean, I just seen all types of different things, and I just didn't see anything. I don't see people getting beat, you know, and knocked down for slave labor. I didn't see that. I just don't know, you know. Wait, listen, there's two countries giving misinformation about each other. But if you get on the ground there, you'll say, wow, you know, I wish I understood the language, but a lot of them speak English.
GBUX is 153. So you're right on one of your stocks that you own. MLS is 137.
Don't jinx me.
Finger is.
Listen, I would love to sell GBUX between $5 and $15. Maybe 8, maybe 11, maybe 12. I don't know. So, you know, when I do, I'll let you know.
You'll be Mr. Bucks. What was that guy named Mr. Bucks in Dick Tracy or in something?
Daddy Warbucks?
Daddy Warbucks. That was that little girl, Annie.
Oh.
Orphan Annie. Daddy Warbucks.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. And William, the other day, just to talk about that stock for a second, someone on your call said, well, it doesn't trade that much. You know, it was offered at 132 at the time. I said, you know, oh, I don't know. And, you know, then you started seeing the stock traded up to 174 yesterday at 20,000. It pulls back, and people whenever stock you look at, if you determine you want to buy it and you're nervous about it, you buy 20%. You want to buy 1,000 shares, you buy 250, you buy 200 shares, whatever. And you tiptoe in. Never be concerned about there being a seller or that there is no volume. The volume, if you look at a lot of these stocks that took off from nothing, like, what was that stock? NIXX, maybe, something like that. It went from doing nothing and it went to $70 and it was like trading 30,000 shares, all of a sudden trading 20 million shares a day. So I don't believe in that. If you find something you like and you're nervous, you tiptoe in. If you're not nervous, you buy it. Don't buy it when no one wants it. I always tell you that. I used to get a kick out of people go, there's a big seller. Well, I says, well, I'm a big buyer. Well, that's the time to buy it. I don't care what he's doing. I think it's going from here. So we used to step in and buy it. Of course, we like to take you out a little lower if you're selling it. I'm not going to rush in. But if I think something is imminent in the stock and you got 1 million shares to sell and I got 2 million to buy, I'm taking your ass out. I mean, that's how you have to do it. Any other questions? I didn't even know it was Friday.
And we listened to you?
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I had no idea it was Friday. I really didn't.
There aren't a lot of questions, so you can talk about other things.
Yeah, looking at DJT, I thought it was going to drift towards 35. They pushed it down again. How does Trump not speak about it? It's remarkable that he hasn't spoken about it. Remarkable. I just can't believe he hasn't. It looks like they're giving up on some things. It's very dangerous. I just look at it. The market's down 200. And, this Tesla, it's either up 20 or down 20. So I don't even know how to tell you to play it. The options are priced in for that movement both ways. Sometimes you can buy a put on Tesla. The stock can go down $10 and your put goes up 25 cents. And you say, how is that possible? But that's because the people that are selling you the put, no, they're putting in that premium in there because they anticipate those wild swings. So don't be thinking you're picking somebody off here. They understand the game too. But when a stock is going nowhere and there's no premium in an option, that's when you kill them. Because when you catch them and they're short the option, short the stock, and it comes out like a surprise like Netflix, I'm sure short sellers got destroyed in that name. Destroyed. And people that came in long Netflix into that earnings, that's when you make the most money, everyone. We always used to wish, you know, on our trading desk, if I went long something and we heard a rumor of a takeover, we were hoping that would happen in the morning, open up $12, $15, and you just make the sale of $15. Because if the stock starts to move up slowly, and let's say it goes 5 to 6, and it's 6.5 or 7, just like I say, you get nervous. You say, hey, you know what? I'm up 2 points. I got 10,000 shares. Let me sell 5 up 2 points. You know, you make 10 grand. All of a sudden, it's up 4 points. So I could sell the other 5 and make another 20. I'll be up 30 for the week. Fuck it. Let me take the money. And the next day, it's up 10 more. You're like, shit, you know. And that's why I keep trying to tell you, keep tiptoeing out. And my old pattern was the one I just described to you. And as I got older, I said, screw that. Let me sell a little at a time. You make more money doing that if the stock continues to run. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And William, one of the hardest stocks someone asked me about was Wolf. Big JR, I think, asked me about that. And I just can't figure it out. Bitcoin's at 106,000. This company mines Bitcoins. If they produce a Bitcoin, they make $104,000. I don't know how many times they do it, whatever the hell they're doing. Yeah. I just don't understand the relationship from Bitcoin to these stocks. Sometimes they just go crazy. Sometimes they do nothing or sell off. And if you bail out of it, they go up. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I won't trade it or look at it anymore because I don't understand it at all.
Did DJT make a deal? Like he said, this don't make sense. I don't know.
I don't think he may have done something buying. Didn't he want to buy something recently? They said they wanted to buy something. I can't remember. Maybe that's the pressure on the stock, that they're doing a deal with somebody and they gave out stock. I don't know, but it just doesn't.
Maybe DJT is going to buy Greenland.
Whatever. You know, he talked about buying some sort of crypto exchange or something. I can't remember what it was. Maybe they're in the middle of doing that transaction, and the other side's going to get stocked, and maybe they want to hedge it. I don't know, because the stock has selling pressure, but I don't know who would even be selling it. Doesn't even make any sense.
Who paid for the ERP system to develop? I guess that's the emergency response. I don't know what that is. I assume it's Finger. That's what they raised the money for.
No, I think the company, I don't think the company had anything to do with it. I think the company just got a contract and they put together this satellite stuff.
I see.
And they got the job. I think they were just given this job and say, hey guys, can you put this shit together and put it in a car? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, we'll pay you a lot of money to do it. Okay. And guys, I don't think if you realize that most of the stock is owned by people in Asia. And I have to assume some of the people that own the stock are close to the Chinese government and they know what they're getting. We don't see the value because the value is being distorted by Lin Partners. I see the value because I see the contracts and what they're getting is just out of this world. To me, it's out of this world. And I think the Chinese people, who are, most of them are hamstrung, they can't buy the U.S. stock, so we don't really see them buying it. But we met a lot of people from Malaysia and Singapore and, you know, in Asia that have bought a lot of stock and they won't sell it. They all believe the stock's going to 100. And you know what? I'll go with them because they obviously know what they're getting and what they're doing. And, you know, the Chinese government seems to be giving them these crazy contracts. And if you just look at their contracts, you know, there's a pattern in the telecom stocks. But then they got the app for the charging for the electric cars. Then they got this contract to install equipment in these vehicles. I mean, what has that got to do with telecom? You know, I never saw anything where the company said we're developing satellite systems for emergency response cars, and then we're going to sell this to the Chinese. It just came out of the blue and said, hey, we got this major contract. So obviously, the Chinese government is rewarding them for something. That's what it looks like to me. I can't imagine. I'm just following the dotted lines, and it doesn't make any sense other than that the company's getting rewarded for something they're doing well.
Roger says Trump needs Bondi and cash installed before he can go after the shorts.
Haven't they been approved yet? I don't even know. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't. No. They've been. But that blonde was asked questions.
I don't think the Democrats are going to approve them because they know once they get approved, they're going to get locked up. So I think they're dragging their feet. William, I'm going to try to get an update on that TLO. I like to buy a couple of thousand shares since I sold the MLSS. I can't afford as many. MLS is $1.30 and TLO is $5, but I like to have 1 or 2, 3,000 shares of that just to put away. If they're correct,
TLO is a good story.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I want to try to get an update from my buddy and see what he says about it, because I do believe it's a good story. But if I get an update, I'll tell you about it. But I haven't heard anything yet. I keep trying to tell you how dangerous it is. Like, I follow this route, and I'm trying to study to see if I can figure out a trading pattern here. It's up, it's down. It's like a hockey game. It's this way, that way. I can't. There's no pattern to it. The pattern is that once it starts to move higher, it looks like it continues higher. But how high? How do you play it? I just haven't figured it out yet. So I try to study it, but I haven't really figured anything out yet. Nothing else?
Nunya doesn't look for Rump to mention anything about the markets until the SEC guy is confirmed. Rump.
Well, that's who my good friend said that. He thinks the SEC needs to be in place, and they're the ones that's gonna that are gonna bring this to attention and bring it out for everybody. As soon as I say that, I can guarantee the SEC is going to come out. Oh, we're giving the short sale reporting. We're going to give them more time. I can see that happening, right? As soon as I say it, that's what's going to happen. These guys have some pair of balls. They've been doing it for 37 years, and they're looking for more time because they're afraid to report their short positions. Good Lord, if anybody came in my office and they said that to me, I would throw them out.
Paulie continues to ask that you post on Truth Social.
I am. I did it. I think it's Ham Short Squeeze, maybe. I forgot the name I put up there. I posted 20 things.
That's your name, Ham Short Squeeze?
I put it on there because the other names were taken. All these other names were taken.
Ham's taken?
The ham, there's like 40 different combinations. Ham this, ham that, second. So I put Ham Short Squeeze. I think I put that.
Why don't you change your name to Spam?
Spam. I think about it. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm so tired of doing it. Now I have to post on 2 networks the same bullshit back and forth all day.
Spam.
Do these people, did these things make money because all the posts that I put up there? Did they make money on that stuff? I don't even know.
I guess it depends on the net worth of your audience.
I don't know. I'll figure out, help them out. I'll post 1,000 things there and 1,000 things on Twitter.
A kid is pointing out there's a stock named Serve. I guess it's robots who give a sandwich. It hit $20. I don't know. SERV.
It makes a sandwich.
Imagine investors piling in robots that serve a sandwich. I don't know much about serve.
Those deals are predetermined or prearranged by these big funds. So the big funds come in, you go to Fidelity, and let's say it's 10 million shares in an IPO. Fidelity will take 3 million. Someone else will take it, and then what they do is they go in the aftermarket and they buy it collectively. All three of them double down on it. Because remember, Fidelity's so big, they can't buy 1 million shares or something. They got to buy 10 million, 20 million. They can't move the needle unless they buy a lot of stock. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. All the money is made in this naked short selling because these guys can sell endless amounts. And I go back to a company, CEI, which is now delisted and gone. It ran from a nickel to $5, and it was trading 1 billion shares a day, between 3 and 5. 1 billion shares a day. So imagine being a naked short seller. Imagine being a naked short seller, and you sell 10 million shares. You sell 50 million shares at $3. I'm not even going to say $5. $3 average. 50 million shares. These guys walked away making a fortune when it went to zero. That's how they sell it. You can't buy enough Tesla or short enough Tesla to change the needle. You have to sell so many shares, and you can't even get in or get out of that name without moving at $10. But when they get these crazy names and they're trading 100 million shares a day, and you can sell 5 million shares short, knowing that it's going to go lower, keep selling it. Sell 5 million at 5. It's 4. Sell another 5 million. They push it down to $1. They make $3 on 30 million shares. Walk away making $100 million. That's moving the needle in these returns for these guys. Not this other shit. They can't make any money.
What about a digital dividend for finger motion like Overstock?
The SEC, we tried to do all the crazy stuff with GTII. We tried to do a Picasso, the Shibu Inu coin, whatever that was. They blocked it, they blocked it, they blocked it. And if you go to T0, it's super expensive to do it. And that's why people aren't doing it. A lot of these companies, Finger Motion's got whatever, they just got another 5 million in the bank or whatever money they had before. How would you like to come out and you got to spend $1 million, $1.5 million and hope that this will work? That this dividend you're going to try to do. Oh, it's going to work. Let's hope it works. Guys don't want. I know you can spend $1 million right now. All right, and go to some offshore guy who controls the algorithms, and they can make the algorithms dance in your favor. And that's why you see these crazy volumes, the algorithms. But how would you like to go to Finger Motion and say, hey, why don't you guys do that? Spend $1 million. And then it doesn't work. What do you say? Whoops, sorry about that. You just lost 20% of your money over nothing to some hoodlum that knows how to work an algorithm machine. The SEC knows that's going on. They should shut that down. But people do it. I don't agree on it. It's impossible. I could never tell anybody to do that. These are things that are going on that you have no idea. And that's why some of these stocks trading 20 million shares in a day, is someone paying $1 million to do this? Or is it just happening by accident? I don't know. But I would be careful on those things. They go up, they trade, all of a sudden, sometimes they continue, sometimes they fall flat on their face and go right back down.
I guess that was a Jetsons reference. That serve. I don't know. I get confused.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
I don't know. The serve stock, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
The
Space
Jetsons.
Lee's rockets. That's what it is.
Oh, that's
He
it.
says, I'm waiting for Space Lee's rockets to go public.
Yeah, that's what it was. The Jetsons, right?
I don't know.
I saw a story about that. I think it's in California, where they make sandwiches. The robots make the sandwiches. I saw that yesterday on the news.
Soon
saw
men
that
will be
yesterday.
making love to robots. It's
There you
the
go.
future. The future of humankind is robots.
Right. Anything else? Yeah, I saw that yesterday where they make a sandwich, and you walk up to the counter, and the robots make the sandwiches or something like that.
Yeah.
It was Chinese food. That is correct.
It's not really anything
Well, we might as well
else.
stay on to 4 o'clock. Let's go.
There's no more questions, so you've got to be creative.
Well, can I just put my computer on for a second?
Yeah, GBUX is 154.
Let me.
Hood is
get in here.
51.
Who's 51?
Hood.
Oh,
La Hood.
yeah, it's great. It's tremendous that they could do whatever they have to do, right?
Yeah.
Second. All right. Someone signed me out of my iPad, and now I forgot how to get into the Donald Trump's thing. All right, no big deal. I'll try to figure it out later. You know, I didn't mark down any of the passcodes or anything like that, William. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's why I lost trillions in Bitcoin.
You know, I told you, did I ever tell you about this? And there's a great story. I'll take 1 minute at a time. A gentleman who's a shareholder came to me and needed help. I think he had 1,000 Bitcoins that they bought a long time ago. And he lost the passwords. And I hooked him up with some big programmers trying to break the code. And I think after a certain amount of attempts, it shuts and locks down forever. And they just couldn't do it. All that stuff is still locked up. He can't get to it. I was like, I'd rather be broke than have that sitting over my head all day, right?
Yeah.
Tough thing to happen to people, but I guess it's happened to a lot of people. You know, where they lost their passwords or their codes. All right, people, come on, ask any questions. Let's go. That's it. All right, we got 10 minutes to go. We'll have silence because
Apparently, hedge
blank
funds
right now.
ask for a 6 months extension on something. I have no idea.
Yeah, they wanted an extension. They don't want to report their 5% holdings. Do you know why they did that? Because they want to learn how to move it around. And when they have to report it, they report nothing, you know?
Yeah, they want to get legal documents in place to move it around.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to have, instead of
They'll
having...
hire some law firm to be clever.
Right, that's what they're doing.
Liars.
Listen,
and lawyers.
William, in the 90s, it used to be called a Reg S. That's how they funded company. And yesterday I spoke about it. The gentleman out of Connecticut, his name just came up to me, was Stephen Hicks. He was one of the originators in the Reg S. And my friend used to work on his trading desk. And he told me they used to give the orders to Canada, and the Canadian brokers were front running it. And that's how they turned it in from a Reg S into a debt spiral.
Wow.
They learned that the more shares they sell and drive it lower, they can make more money. And that's how it turned into that.
Well, I remember that client, I guess I had clients that did it. They would use Bear Stearns to move around short positions. But they would actually move the positions, I guess, from brokerage firm to, it's the same shit they do now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they did, right?
Is there a way to know more about trading and et cetera, even if we're not connected to Wall Street? Frankly, I'm not connected anymore.
It's yes and a no. I don't join any of these chat things or these services. These guys, I think they like to use strength in numbers. So if I was with a service, I could come out there and say I love XYZ at $3, and everyone goes piling in, and it goes to 4 or 5 based on the momentum. I don't like to get caught in that wash because I have no idea what they're doing. I just stay away from it. But I wouldn't mind if you jumped into those things and tried to study them. Maybe you'll find someone that's good for you. I don't know. I like to find things, like I said before, that are going sideways, doing nothing. If you can do the research on the company, you can just watch it for a week. You can say, okay, the stock trades. It goes to 5 and it pulls back to 3, and it goes to 5 and pulls back to 3.5. It goes to 5 and pulls back to 4. You can see that the lows are getting higher. It started at 3, then 3.5 and 4, and you see the high is 5. So if it breaks through 5, it's going to go. If it doesn't, it's going to pull back to that number again. Those are the type of things you need to do. Just don't jump into a name. Look at it. Study it a little bit. It's not hard. Just jot it down. If you don't want to, I find it better that you write it down than just having it as, go to Yahoo and see what it's done the last few days. Because when you write it down, you can actually say, okay, I remember seeing that thing at $1.40, $1.50. I remember it, versus just glancing at it through something else. I just get a kick out of finger motion. I see now almost 500,000 shares. What did I tell you before? The wash sales, the short sale today is probably going to be 60%, maybe a little higher because there are buyers. There's always a seller. But I do believe that they did wash a lot of trades today. At least 30% of the 460 that's traded, or about 140,000, is my guess, it's been washed today. I have 2 guys that are very good at monitoring this thing, and they told me I was pretty close to what the number was.
How will the Roth report be published? I think more importantly, will it be available to us?
I would say yes. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
If the report's sent out, I'll have it as fast as a hedge fund will have it. And that's why it pays to have friends on Wall Street. I don't do business with my friend anymore. We discuss ideas very infrequent. He's a biotech guy. And every once in a while, he'll give me something. But for the most part, I'm not a biotech player. And, when there's some story he has on whatever disease they're working on, it's usually a longer term play, and that's not my thing. And he moves institutions around, so it's a different type of guy. But you call, you say hello, how's your family doing, what's going on, and then you get information. That's how it works.
I don't, you can answer this. I have no idea. Why is so much more volume in Finger coming from the over-the-counter instead of the exchanges that posted most of the volume last year?
I think the over-the-counter, I think those are wash trades. I think there's more volume in the wash trades. The volume is dried up on the buy side, so you would have to assume that this is wash trade volume.
Crossing.
So listen, if you're sitting at a desk and you're a hedge fund, you have access to using any platform to sell your stock. So I can move the market maker, OTCX, I can move it to this one or whatever, Citadel, whatever it may be. You just click your mouse and you move those market makers. So when you guys think it's the short, let's say it's OTC is the short seller today, and everyone kind of knows it's them. They cancel OTC and then they drop in somebody else. They just move the names around. And that was pretty adamant. It's pretty well known back in GTII, because they used to rotate these names. You used to go from PUMA to whatever other names they used before, and they were rotating them around. That's what happened a long time ago. So they did that. They used to rotate the names. That's what they did for. You know, so these guys they're pretty good at camouflaging what they do. It's a pain in the ass to do, but they're devious and they're just trying to make people do different things. They're just trying to make people think differently, do different. Just listen, people. Just make believe at home you're the short seller. You're in finger motion. You want to cover. You can't cover. What do? Call Capybara. Give him $50,000. Tell him to go write a report and write every negative thing you can get under the sun. Then get 10 idiots from 13th Avenue in Brooklyn and get them to go out there on the message boards and write the company's a piece of shit. It's a pump and dump. Ham's a jerk off. Blah, 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 blah. And that's what they do. And I would do the same thing if I was in that game. You would do the same thing too. You got millions at stake. If you can get the people to sell it, you can cash out and make millions and millions of dollars. That's what these guys, that's all they're thinking about. So we're thinking about a fair game of a company trying to build a business, and they're thinking of a ways to scam you, steal, destroy the company, anything they can, and sell as much as they can before they do it. And you say, what do you mean sell as much as they can? Just look at the Anson fund with Hindenburg. In the email, these guys are holding up the report so they can sell more. The same thing happened with Rocca Partners, and I can't remember that fucking guy's name. And what's his name? Oh, blank. But the same thing with Rocca Partners and Gradient Advisors, where they were holding up the report. They were paying for the report, and an insider from Gradient who wrote the reports ratted to Pat Byrne and gave him up and said, hey, these guys, this is what they're doing. Who was the guy with Rocker? He's always on Twitter. I forget his name. Oh, I'm blank. And he was writing about how good T0 was and all this nonsense. Pat Byrne caught him. He had to pay Pat Byrne $5 million. So Pat Byrne didn't go after him. But in return, I believe he gave up Goldman Sachs to Pat Byrne, because Goldman Sachs was his prime broker. Mark Cohodes. Sorry, there you go. If you want to read that story, I'll post it later. How they did it.
Seems to have frightened Goldman Sachs.
Say it again. Did it frighten them? Well, Pat Byrne spent $30 million fighting Goldman Sachs and Merrill Lynch. He got paid $30 million back by them, okay, and they ended it. Then Pat Byrne had a clear shot at the dividend, and that's what happened there. But Pat spent $30 million fighting these guys. $30 million. Who has $30 million to fight on a lawsuit that A, you may win, or B, you may lose? They were just dragging it out on Pat Byrne and Overstock. That's what they didn't even care at Goldman Sachs, those guys. They were dragging it out. Pat Byrne was advised by his counsel to settle, get it off the table, and move along, and go after them in a different way, and that's what he came up with the dividend.
If fingers squeezes and you sell your stock, are you going to invest in big companies, or are you just going to take your money out of the stock market?
I will take my money out of the stock market, and I will find special situations. I'm not going to, listen, I make $20 million. I'm not putting it nowhere near the stock market. I may buy 10,000 shares of a stock like MLS to 20,000 shares for a total investment of $30,000 or something like that. But there's no way that I would sit here and say, I'm going to invest $10 million to make another million to get lost. I would never do that. And people that do that, who think they're all going to become Warren Buffett, or like Lynn Partners, how much money you want to steal? They should have stolen what they had the opportunities to get away. But these guys thought they could go on forever. Same thing with the Kramers and out of Long Island or Yorkville or Savvy Management. Look at Andrew Left. He thought he was going to go on forever as the retail short selling king, or Hindenburg. What did these guys? These guys had a good couple of years of run. What's his name? Andrew Left had a run for 30 years. The guy lived in Boca Raton. He was living in Beverly Hills, and he had a mansion in Boca Raton that they sold for $20 million recently. I'm in the same house I paid $300,000 for. These guys are buying houses for 30 million, 20 million, whatever the hell it is. You need a lot of winning trades to make that type of money. I mean, so don't get me wrong. You know, these guys just thought they were good. They thought they were going to be Goldman Sachs. They thought their shit didn't stink. They thought the government would never get them. They never thought the DOJ would come after them, and they never did. But guess what? Now he's 55 years old, whatever he is, and now he's going to go to jail. He may spend the rest of his life in jail. So all the money he's stolen is worth shit. And that's the sad things with these idiots.
What do you think the price target will be on Finger in the Roth Capital research report?
I would love to see something between $10 and $15, because brokerage firms cannot come out and say, hey, the stock is $1.50. I'm going to put a $40 target on it. What they do, okay, and this came from an analyst many years ago, they put a target like that, like somewhere between $8 and $10, let's say. When it reaches 8 to 10, then they raise their target to 20. When it gets to 20, they raise the target to 35. That's how they do it. But if they come out and say, hey, this stock's $1.50, and we're going to put a $50 target on it, the SEC is going to say, what are you talking about here? What's going on here? So this is the way they do it. They rather keep increasing the target, raise their target price as they go along. That's what they do. So don't sit there and think they're going to come out and say, oh, my God, the stock's $1.50. It's got this business. It's worth $1 billion. They'll say, I think they'll say somewhere between 8 and 15. And then they'll come after that. And as it reaches 8, they'll say, okay, we raised our target from 8. We said $8 to $15. Let's say they say $10. We're going to change our target from 10. We're raising it to 22. When it gets to 18, they'll say, hey, we're going to raise our target because business trends are getting stronger. They'll raise it to 30. And they'll keep going it along like that.
Would you buy the February $2 calls at 5 cents?
Those are what I love to buy. Listen, if you got FU money, you buy 50 of them at a nickel, $250. Do you think you can get into the stock market and own 5,000 shares of a stock at $2.05 for whatever the period is?
A month.
This is the stock market. No one's giving you anything for free, so get over that right away. For everybody on this phone call, this is the stock market. You put money up. No one's giving you positions for free. I tried to teach you how to trade and get your position for free, which I think is important. If you learn to do that, you're a king. So if you say you bought 50 calls at a nickel, you take 25 of them and you put them out at a dime. If the stock jumps up 30 cents, you'll sell them at a dime to 25. And guess what? You got 25 for free. That's the way to play it. But buying 5-cent calls, basically, you know going in, you got a 99% chance of failure. But if you pull it off and the stock runs to 10 and you own the $2 calls at a nickel, you're making $8, right? 50 times, which is 40,000 for $500. Or 50 at a nickel, 25, $250, whatever. That's the beauty of options. And if you do that, and let's say the company came out with it, was taken over or something like that, and you bought 500 of the 2 calls at a nickel and it got taken over at $10, the SEC would be knocking on your door saying, what the hell did you do? You had inside information, and they would look into you. That's what the SEC looks for on insider trading. All these idiots that get caught on insider trading, they're all buying options. Options is where the fast money goes. Fast, short-term money is in options. You can go out there and just go buy a stock and just start buying calls. Let's say you're a $1 billion fund. I could step into a stock and start buying calls. And first of all, I buy some stock. Then you go out there and you start buying tons of calls and you're buying the stock. All of a sudden you got, 10,000 calls that are 50 cents. You start buying the stock, you drive the stock up $3, you sell the calls at, $4, right? You make $500,000, then you start getting out of the stock. Everyone's talking about it, and you exit out of the stock. If you break even, you walk away making $500,000 in a few days. I never seen that happen before. Never I seen that happen before. We don't have enough money we can't move a stock $1.30. Where'd the stock close at, William? I don't even know.
It closed at 131, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 131.
So we had enough money today to close the stock at 131. These hedge funds can move stocks $10. They have billions. Listen, when everyone starts to control billions of dollars, they're very powerful with $1 billion. With leverage, these guys, they probably get 10 times leverage. They can make anything happen. You got $20,000. What are you going to do? We can't do anything. These people have billions of dollars. And the SEC and their lawyers is letting their lawyers dictate to the SEC on the rules, and Donald Trump should come out and smack them down immediately. Report your short positions. And if we find that you spread it into different accounts and you control it, you're going to jail, because that's basically fraud, right? This is what needs to come out of them. Nothing more than just that. Threaten these people that if you get caught, there's no more penalties like Robinhood paid. Who knows how much damage they did. They paid $45 million. Their stock goes to 50, and the guy's a billionaire. He's going out to dinner as a billionaire, and we're sitting here, all the poor people, like the guy I know, lost $1.5 million in GameStop and AMC. You know that that Robinhood threw him under the bus as an investor, and the guy lost $1.5 million. And Robinhood guy, that young kid, is rich for lying and cheating. He's rich, and people are trying to struggle to get back their money. Well, I have nothing to do with that. I'm just telling you what I see and I hear. And I understand people, like, why are you so angry? Why am I angry? Because guess what, people? We all wasted our day today, whatever today's day is, January 23rd, but I think it's the 23rd. We all wasted a day in our life that we're never going to get back fighting for stock settlement. Where in the world do we have to defend and be the defenders of the stock market? We're here trying to invest in a company that's doing the right thing, and yet now I have to be the defender of the stock settlement system. To me, it's appalling that we have to do this and waste our time. I wasted 25 years, and that's why I've had enough. But you know what? I don't give up, but I am taking some time in the middle of the day to take a break and stop looking at it all day. You know, what did they say, William? Too many people watching the water boil is not going to, too many, I forget what the term was. We're all watching the same thing boil. It just doesn't work. You know, you got to spread out, do different things. And that's what I've been doing. I studied every trade in GTII for 3 years, 4 years, finger motion, 3.5, 4 years. Every trade, not some of the trades, every trade. And I had conference calls every day in those names. And both of those stocks, both of them did squeeze. You know, GTI went from 20 cents to $9. Finger motion went from below $1 to 10, back up, went to 7 the next time. So we've had opportunities, but I'm not here for that. I'm here for the home run swing. And if you traded it, God bless you, and you made money. I have many people that I helped in those names, and I never heard from them again. I'm talking about people I spoke to every day, and they cashed out and they moved along. That's part of life, because guess what? I guess maybe they felt they don't want to waste their life. They don't want to get caught up in it. But I will guarantee you this: those people that did that and tried to go out on their own and tried to trade stocks, 9 out of 10 of them got their asses kicked, because they thought they were too smart. They made money in the market and they thought they were experts. I had one guy made 300,000, and he put it in all these crazy names, whatever. He was chasing all these volume things, whatever. You know, he was following Avid Trader and all these crazy names that he was talking about. He lost it all. He had enough money to come back, and he bought a couple of thousand finger. I think he had 6,000 finger now. From 300,000, he's got 6,000 finger, maybe at $2 or $3. So he's got 18,000 left. That's how rough and tough it is. We all start to think we're better than we are when you got a lot of money. And look what happens to everybody. And that's why I tell you, when you get your money, you play very smart, very small, be happy with what you have, go buy an asset, something you won't lose, go buy a car. I had a gentleman who made some money in something, and I said, stop what you're doing and go out and buy a new car. And the guy did it. And I'm happy for him, because guess what? Life goes by and you can't be miserable every day, and you got to enjoy yourself. If you made a nice hit, go do something nice for yourself and you'll feel better about yourself. Now I need a pair of readers so I can read a goddamn menu, William.
He doesn't have anything to do with your menu. Do you think once Finger moves, ZJYL and GDC will move as well?
I don't think they're going to follow us. I think that DJT lights up the whole board, and we go along with them. I think we go, and these other names have nothing to do with us. You know? I think we will be by ourselves on the run. You know, the GameStop people put up posts all the time. GameStop, GME, they never include finger motion in their tweets. If you go look at the GameStop and the AMC people, they never mention us. They never, you know, they don't give us any credit for following this stuff. You know, I've been following it, you know, very tightly since 2018. I've been posting stuff. They never say anything. So I don't discuss them. They don't discuss us. And, you know, do your own thing. And you can see their stories falling apart as you see it. AMC, the chairman threw everybody under the bus. GameStop, the Ryan Cohen has sold 140 million shares. He took all the money in. He covered the shorts, right? He saved his own ass with the SEC investigation in him. And now, even though the stock has moved, it doesn't have that crazy movement that it used to have. You know, when the stock started going, and when it would go up on the day, we would run $3, $4, $5, right? You don't see that anymore. That tells me the shorts are not really around it anymore. That's what it tells me. There may be small shorts, intraday shorts, you know, but it wasn't like before. AMC, I never even followed it. I don't really give a shit. I told you a long time ago that I didn't care about helping you. How do I know that? We took a picture. My friend was sitting next to him and asked him point blank, and he had no interest. And I posted that the day that it happened. Remember that, William?
No, I don't.
This chairman of AMC, I put his picture up in the skybox in the Kansas City Chiefs game. Remember?
No.
All right. You're going to be a pleasure as you get older.
Who cares about popcorn?
Anyway, everyone, listen, have a great weekend. Don't stand in the cold too much. And we'll speak over the weekend. If I hear anything good, I'll let you know. And we'll be back at it by Monday, all right?
All right. Thank you.
You got it.
Call ended.
I don't think I'm going to go much longer. I like your point that it I guess silver cross or golden cross. I like that. I didn't know Ace was having surgery. I hope it went well. I hope it went well. I have no update. Today I wrote an email to the company stating that the $5 million has not arrived yet. I do expect it to arrive, but it hasn't, and I can't do anything about it, Doug. there's an approval process that's out of my hands and it's out of the investors' hands, and it may or may not happen. The company is funded and is operating and is making progress. I do not have the credibility or the leverage, I don't think, until this funding process is over with, to demand or request how is everything going in detail. As soon as it's funded, I intend to fly out and maybe even do an interview if it's allowed. If not, but I'll watch the process very closely and should be able to give you updates. But I can't remember, Doug, and I'm not going to make any assumptions because I literally don't remember. Somebody made some accusations on this space. Yeah, I can't remember the name. Similar to yours, but I'm not sure it was you. But it's just life in the fast lane. There's a lot of regulation when you deal with the United States government oversight of our accounts. Ann Wagner doesn't want to have any tracking of trades, but I can assure you that the United States banking system controls everything and knows where everything is. But I'll let you know as soon as I know. If I had to guess, the delays come from I don't know what word to use, but there are words I can think of, but they're not polite. But the softness of the United States government over the last 4 years, over the last period of time, our government has focused on the Patriot Act and the wars and the endless wars and bailing out Jamie Dimon, but it hasn't focused on other things that are far more important. So I think what happened over the last month is that the United States government went on holiday. Christmas week, New Year's week, Jimmy Carter week, inaugural week. I think they just went on vacation. And they might still be on vacation. Nobody's doing anything. Under Joe Biden, nobody did anything anywhere. Nothing got done anywhere. Not the borders, not North Carolina, not regulation, nothing. Money was laundered through Ukraine and back to Joe Biden's family, who got pardoned, but nothing else. Nothing's been done. So anyway, I'll let you know when it happens. I will call for probably I'm forgetting what it's called, Zoom call, probably a Zoom call, but it hasn't happened yet. And I have no control. I don't know who to call. I don't know where to put leverage. All I can do is wait. Finger closed very nicely. I like MLSS, looks pretty strong, but I like RLAIF best of all right now. It did go well and he's recovering. I'm glad. August 25 calls for $3, 15 cents. Yeah, that might be a good one. Yeah, it might be good. I don't know. How is it that 1,301 shares of Finger sold at 118 at 11 a.m., 11:38 a.m. today, when the ticker was at $1.29? Oh, wow. I don't have time in sales. There might be a website. Let's just see if there's such a website. Time in sales. NASDAQ. Let's see. I don't buy it. I don't think I'm going to find it on NASDAQ, but I can look. Latest real-time trades. So they give you the last 5 trades. That doesn't help anything. Well, here, maybe this does. Maybe I can find your trade that you're talking. Well, it's going to take a long time. No, they just go back the last 100 trades. So they go back to 3 o'clock. So I can't. I don't know how to find that on time and sales. But it could be. It's just reported late. That's unlikely, but it could be that. It could be that how many shares? 1,301. The one leads me to believe that it was a signal that it's not. Who owns 1,301 shares? So I think it's a manipulation. But it could be that there was a buyer, a bid for 100 shares, and then underneath it there were some stop loss orders, and so they saw that and they hit it all the way down and triggered the stop loss order at $1.18, and it bounced right back up. I don't know. That would be my guess as to what happened. I don't think Donald Trump is going to say. Why would Donald Trump be saying anything about short selling? On the list of things that he has to do, why does short selling come anywhere near the top? That's my opinion. But obviously I could be totally wrong. But I think as president of the United States, so-called leader of the free world, short selling in finger motion probably is at the bottom of his list. Maybe at the bottom would be checking in on Kamala Harris's marriage to her gay husband. No, he's not gay. That was Barack. I don't know. Something about that guy. He did something with the nanny. I don't know. Is there a conflict of interest if we invest in stocks hoping that the stock goes up while Webull or Robinhood shorts these stocks? Yeah, I think they have to act as an honest broker, as an agent. And yeah, I think there's a conflict of interest. Is it going to be enforced? No. No. You have a choice, as do CEOs, as do people who used to work at the American Stock Exchange. You can look at the markets and say to yourself, there are systems in place and there's integrity in the market, there's compliance, and they are not going to allow bad things to happen. Or you can look at the evidence in front of your nose that in fact they probably don't even exist, but if they exist, they allow all of this to happen. There's no enforcement, none. Wall Street's set up to strip fees from trillions of dollars created by the government. They strip fees by financialization of everything, so a handful of men can get wealthy beyond imagination. And they all cheat. Yes, the what naked shorts do walk away and they never cover. Happens all the time. Look at GTII, and you know the story. Look at COSM coming in and stopping squeezes, in my opinion, but then they get destroyed. Look at Genius Group. They get destroyed. Look at CRTD. Look at that lawyer. I can't remember his name. That did the settlement for HPIL and VNU. Walked away. Look at DBMM. Look at MMAT. Look at Torchlight. This crime, which is done on an industrial scale, works. They always walk away, and they get away with it to trillions of dollars, and they don't pay taxes. And they let you see maybe 8-10% of it or maybe more some years in the funds you invest in. But otherwise, they keep it. They hide it. They buy everybody off. The way they walk away, you know all this, Steve. They walk away by I don't want to show you. I'm just going to tell you. If Vocal, CRTD, has been shorted, and of course, Jeremy Frommer did a thorough forensic study of it, and he found no evidence that Jeff Easton, his buddy, was doing anything wrong. But just let's say they shorted 500 million shares of CRTD down to crap. Well, there's a maintenance requirement necessary at the broker-dealer on 500 million shares. Well, he did the mother of all reverse splits, because he's a genius. He did a 1 for 500 split. 500 million shares becomes, I can't do it in my head, 1 million, 10 million, whatever the number is. Divide 500 million by 500. 1 million shares. So that reduces the requirement, the maintenance requirement, against 500 million shares down to a maintenance requirement against 1 million shares, or whatever the number is. Automatically, all that money goes away, and guess what? They don't have to cover. They don't have to cover. All those shares, they do not have to cover. And the stock's dead, and they have the cash, and they don't pay taxes. There's no 1099s. And if the stock starts to go up, they can start shorting it. That's one way. Another way is they get it into bankruptcy. No 1099. The judge is confused. She doesn't know what they're talking about. Oh, expert market. Okay, well, you can take care of that in the OTC expert market. Done. Bam. Bankrupt. You're gone. Shell is clean. And the shorts are, there's no closing transaction. They win. Another way they do it is they sell stock like MULN, great story. Sell stock, the company gets a great contract, needs more money. Well, now it needs money to fulfill the contract and all the good dreams and hope, but they've shorted the stock down for, I'm making it up, from $10 to $1. So even though it's great news, when the company goes to raise money, they raise it at 75 cents, and it dilutes the hell out of the good news on a per share basis. Rinse and repeat. Do it over and over and over again. They never have to cover. There's no compliance, Steve. I don't know why people think it's going to be covered. The compliance officers no longer work in the part of the brokerage firm where these trades happen. Wall Street is set up now. You move your account to Merrill Lynch. You're very likely to get a young person, male or female. They won't know anything. And they'll come in, let's look at your account. Well, Mr. Thomas, let's take a pad of paper, and your home is worth this. You have 2 children, and you want to retire in 20 years. Your income's here. You have these credit card debt here, and you own this and that, and you might inherit from your parents. Let's put it all in a thing. And they might, in some cases, use a computer. Otherwise, they'll just bring out a pad of paper, and they'll draw it down. And then they'll convince you, okay, you got to pay off that debt. Like, why don't you start allocating some money there? But you really should be in your 401k and in your retirement plan. And you should be in the Merrill Lynch Trust Bus Plus Opportunity 5 fund. And let's go with this money manager. She always is out trumpeting the last month's news, Catherine Wood, and she'll be able to help you out. And then we'll put it in a portfolio, but all your assets are going to be in long term. They're going to be in ETFs and money managers, and it's all going to be financial. And that's what it is now. And I, as the broker, I will collect 3% on your account. 1 will go to the firm. I think this has changed now, but this is what it was. 1% goes to the firm, 1% goes to the manager, 1% comes to me as the broker. And that's what it is. And in that environment, the compliance officers are just focused on that, the managed money. They do not allow the broker to recommend to you to buy stocks under $10 or whatever the cutoff is. They do not allow you to recommend as a broker to your clients over-the-counter stocks, NASDAQ stocks. They do not enforce, they don't allow short selling, but they don't allow anything that happens in terms of leverage or any of that crap in that side of the trading. On the other side, the prime broker, they do allow it. But the compliance officer are over here with the insurance agents, with the tellers. The compliance officers are not on the prime brokerage side. The prime brokerage, like Patrick Burns said, is a couple of guys named Vinny and Joey and Louie. Stock loan. And they counterfeit. There's nobody asking for settlement. And then your broker, who's run by 12-year-olds and is an online pitiful excuse for an agent on your behalf, all the risk is on you. The lawyers have put documents in there, so this online system has no responsibility. They don't demand delivery. So yes, the naked shorts walk away all the time. All the time. Finally, if they can move those trades from LLC to LLC to LLC, and they can get them out of the United States, if they can get them into Europe, no one follows it. They're gone. Ann Wagner doesn't want, because that's privacy. You voted for Ann Wagner. She's a woman. She's great. You got to have women in charge of things because women are better than men. And she's a Republican. And she's got integrity, Ann Wagner. Biggest loser in Congress. She says it's privacy, so we don't want to have a consolidated trail of trades. We don't want to have an accounting of the trades. So if they can move them over to Europe, our European allies don't give a crap. They don't follow it. It's gone. And those trades are gone. Now, can I prove all that? Not to Jeremy Frommer's satisfaction. He wants evidence, proof. Do you think the criminals leave footprints underneath the window? Do you think Miss Maple leaves the hammer in the lavatory as she kills Mr. Plum? You're not going to find the proof. Where the proof is, there's 1,000 companies, 10,000 companies that go out of business, and Adina Friedman doesn't care. There's your proof. They always walk away. They always get away with it. The shorts do not have to cover. In my opinion, there's only 2 times where they will cover, and they both involve the same instinct. One is when there's a surprise out of the blue. There's a rush to buy the stock that no one anticipated. For example, you might be short, they might have shorted an oil and gas exploration company down to oblivion. And they do it. They've destroyed that whole industry. But the company, for miracle of miracles, the project they've been working on for a decade, they drill a well and they find $20 billion worth of oil to their interests at today's at a PV 10, PV 20. All of a sudden, the value is more than the shorts can contain. There's a rush of buying. In other words, there's a surprise. That's number one. Number two is if longs, not you, not me, but some group of longs that know what the hell they're doing. And this, I think this is what protects the big stocks. They have their own computers. They have their own system. They have their own buying methodology, and they turn that on. In both of those cases, if the shorts still have positions that they haven't been able to move out, hide, absorb, walk away from, put in a warehouse that then they torch later on. If they haven't gone through, which I think it's a time-consuming step-by-step process, but if they haven't gotten it out, and if that short position causes financial loss, financial risk, immediate, in other words, the stock price goes up like a rocket, well, the prime broker isn't going to wait for any BS. They're going to say, we want money now. And then you get a case where Melvin Capital needs to be bailed out by who? Stevie Cohen. Why would Stevie Cohen do it? He probably founded Melvin Capital. Behind the scenes. They don't want it to blow up. This is the biggest grift. And I'm telling you, these guys trust each other above their responsibility to the United States financial markets. Hey, Zizu, DXF. I didn't see that one. I don't know anything about MFA. Book value of $18. Lows at 10. Well, you know, book value is as good as the auditors, as good as the assumptions. But knowing a book value all by itself doesn't give you enough information. Does the company need to raise capital? What's the burn rate? Do they have positive earnings? Is part of that book value cash that they have to spend? It looks good. I mean, as one point to consider, but I don't know enough about it to say whether $12.50 is the right price or not. But if Fidelity upgraded it, it's probably a good starting point. Probably. Webull and Robinhood trade in partial shares. I think they give you counterfeit shares. If you want to have an account with those firms, it was in their presentation. They're going to have a block of stock. They'll sell fractional shares. Well, how do they sell fractional shares? They tell you, trust us. We've got the stock at DTC. It's like an ETF. Look, these guys are liars. But if you want to have faith in the system, go have a career at the American Stock Exchange. I don't know what its name is on Truth. You know what I would do, Paulie? I would Google or search finger on Truth. And my guess is there won't be a lot of people posting about finger. And you'll find ham. I think he said it was ham short, something like that. But yeah, I think you'll find it. Whatever company GG joins does that mean he was helping them. Specifically, maybe not, but I think that they will. I think whether it's in explicitly stated or not, Wall Street is going to reward Gary Gensler very handsomely for his complete complicity or for his incompetence or for both. He looked the other way. He did not enforce rules. And he got Wall Street well into crypto. And I think you're going to see that's going to be the next profit center for crypto. And if you want to buy ETFs on Bitcoin and you want to trust the tokenization of everything, I guess that's just the way we're going to go. We're all going to be a nation of traders while the rest of the world works. He's got 41 followers. Wow. Let me just see if there's any news to talk about. I don't know if I want to stay on much longer. Because I don't think, somebody pointed out that my shows aren't very good anymore since Lou died. And I think that person was on to something. No news to, let me try one other place. If I find something, the perils of abusing leverage. Most traders experience a major loss at some point. How we recover from it is what matters. By Adam Sharp. Let's see what he has to say. I kind of can relate to that. I think they all, Brian. It's not that fascinating to repeat it over and over again, but I will. Rod Stewart had to sing Maggie May over and over again. But I think it's very similar, Brian. I don't know what goes on nowadays, but back when I was young, cocaine was illegal, pot was illegal, and I went to a school where everybody, was a straight A student or most everybody was a straight A student in high school, and they didn't do that shit. Everyone was concerned that it was against the law. I don't know what the attitude is now. But back then, you had a choice. If your friend started smoking pot in front of you, or you walked into a room where the guys were, passing around, big mound of white stuff, and the hot chicks are lining up at the door, and you're a naive guy and you don't know exactly. Wow, you know a lot of hot chicks, to my roommate. But then you then as you get older, you realize what was going on. But you have a choice. You can report it, or you can look the other way. I know when it came to me, I just looked the other way. That's what Wall Street does. They look the other way. You do not want to be the brokerage firm that goes against this $1 trillion theft, because they will target you. They will put you out of business. I don't think Bernie Madoff. Number one, nobody lost any money in the Bernie Madoff scandal. Nobody. They lost the promises that were fantastical anyway. But they made him pay, but they don't make these people pay. So if a brokerage, I would love to open an honest brokerage firm. I'd love to open an honest investment bank. I'd love to open an honest trading platform. And I believe if you raised money honestly and maintained an honest market, even for one company, you'd have more business than you knew what to do with. It's a little risky because you'd have to pick the right company that actually trades well, but I'd have no short side. And they'd go against it, but you don't let them. You don't let them. Might be slower, might not be that instant gratification. Part of the problem, everyone wants to hit the next GameStop, which they didn't play properly in the first place anyway. Yeah, I don't think Ham will ever go anywhere. He's only good at two things. So I don't think there are no consequences. But let me see if I can. Okay. Let me see if I can find this. Let me just see if it looks like a good article. If it doesn't, I won't bore you. I don't think it's worth reading to you. I don't think that's too pedantic to read to you. So I think we'll just leave it there. I'm going to wish everybody a happy weekend. I don't think I'll be coming on tomorrow or Sunday. And I may be, we'll see how free I am Monday and Tuesday. But I'm going to wish everybody a happy weekend. I hope all the sports you watch are fun. And I hope you're warm and you say hi to your puppy dogs. Anyway, peace to everybody. Thanks for joining in.